Well, Mandy, it's finally happened.
What happened?
We're talking about the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
Are you so
Appalachia.
excited?
Yeah. Not really. It was requested by some of Cameron's friends, I think, really wanted it. I mean, it is fun. There's a lot to talk about, and Appalachias just in general are fascinating. The subculture is amazing. But honestly, I was surprised how much stuff felt familiar. And I was like, wait, that's an Appalachian myth? That's an Appalachian superstition? Oh, that's really, I grew up with that one.
Huh.
Is that Appalachian? There's a couple. We'll talk about them, but
Cool.
yeah, that was surprising.
You had mentioned that you could give a quick skim of the history. Can you really do that? I don't think I've ever heard you do such a thing.
Okay. So the Appalachians are a mountain chain or an area that are named after the Appalachee, which is a Native American tribe that lived at what's now modern-day Tallahassee, Florida. But the Appalachians themselves extend over something like 13 different states. 18 states: Alabama, Connecticut, Georgia, Kentucky, Maine. There's a whole lot of them. But what makes the Appalachians so interesting is the cultural connotation that applies to Appalachia. The things that make the Appalachian, I think, are the people. And what makes that is the history of the indigenous peoples who originally lived there, mixing with Scotch-Irish settlers who are getting pushed further and further into these really isolated mountain towns, escaped slaves, and white indentured servants who are marrying and having kids together, and those kids are not welcome in any society. And so you have these really isolated pockets of culture that really developed independently from anything else that was going on around them. And you've got this really fascinating mix of peoples and languages. And you've got escaped slaves from, I don't even know. I had actually recently learned about the Melungeon people, which is a specific subgroup of peoples. I guess they're finding a bunch of different pockets of DNA, like Portuguese slaves, different kinds of pirates, people who had landed in the Carolinas and kind of moved together into these weird mountain towns and preserved some of that language and culture. It's amazing.
So, in other words, lots and lots of different cultures bleeding together with all of their creepy lore and stories, feeding into all of the spookiness of the surrounding environment and creating all of this delicious lore.
Yes. And the environment itself impacting
those
them.
Creepy, juicy mountains.
The mountains, I just, it's amazing. So like some pre-existing lore and some imported lore, brought in from the travelers and settlers, mixing together and having the landscape itself inform how that lore changed. I don't know. It's just really cool. It's very, very cool.
And with that, murderers, we are finally delving into the legendary lore and mythology of the Appalachian Mountains, as long promised, except for the Wendigo, because we are saving that, of course, for October. So stick around and we'll get back to it after the music.
There is a medicine story that tells of Crow's fascination with her own shadow. She kept looking at it, pecking at it until her shadow woke up and became alive. Then Crow's shadow ate her. Crow is dead Crow now. Join us as we attempt to look through the wandering crow's eye to find the gateway to the supernatural, to seek to know the unknowable mysteries of creation. Welcome to the Wandering Crow podcast.
Welcome back, wanderers, murderers, to the Wandering Crow. This is your host, Abby.
This is Mandy.
And this is JT.
Hello.
And as you heard in the intro, we are talking all about the Appalachian Mountains and the Appalachian
Mythology.
Mythology. Thank you, sir. And I'm actually super sad that Cameron isn't here for this because I feel like these are the episodes he was meant for, man.
Yeah.
He'd come in here with some crazy shit and just drop it like it's hot. And we'd just be like, okay, oh my God, what? And those are always the good conversation starters. But I brought nothing.
You brought nothing?
I mean, that's not true. First of all, I will be able to skim some Reddit as we're all talking in good Cameron form. I know he was doing that a lot.
I have a long list of different superstitions that come from the Appalachians. They're very familiar to me, and I hope that they're also familiar to you, Abby. I'm curious to know JT, who grew up in Arizona all his life, if he has ever heard of some of these superstitions. Is it really an Appalachia thing, or is it maybe an American thing? I would love it if we could at some point have our listeners chime in about these superstitions. Do you have something similar where you are from? We have listeners all over the damn world at this point, and I would love to compare notes about some of these superstitions.
Yes. Speaking of which, it has come to our attention that we are all desperately avoiding social media right now. So if you start conversations amongst yourselves in social media, great. If you're actually trying to reach out to us, email is the best way.
Email is the best
Reach
way.
out to us via email. We love that. We're checking it out. We're responding. So do tell.
I wonder if we should stop doing the social media plugs because we're not actually on social media.
It really, really is my intention to get there.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just going through some shit and just need to take my sweet time crawling there. So it's coming though. Mercury just started going into retrograde in late January and Pisces are recoiling into chrysalis form.
Mercury's in the microwave again, guys.
We're going to explode onto your scene. I hear June has some great things in store for Pisces.
But
Nice.
I also hear we can, kind of dampen the fire horse a little bit because we are of the water.
Oh,
Dampen the fire horse.
That's
All
the
right.
Chinese New Year.
it's the new year.
Oh, the horse.
And it comes with new changes.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing I have is the Bell Witch story, which is from a shamanic perspective. It's fascinating to think about, so I can't wait to talk about that one. JT, what'd you bring?
What did I bring? Well, I'd like to start with a simple question for you guys.
Okay.
What is the wood booger's favorite snack?
I don't know.
Sass squash.
Why did I definitely think it was going to have something to do with like a stick covered in boogers?
Yeah.
Like ants on a log.
A face cave, something.
Here's another question for you guys.
All right, I'm ready.
Why don't wood boogers use social media?
Why don't wood boogers use social media? Why?
They are too good at hiding their profile.
Ha!
Come on!
These are silly. Tell me another one. Do you have another one? Entertain me.
I do.
Yay.
I do. Why did the wood booger cross the road?
Why did the wood booger cross the road, JT?
To prove to the opossum it could be done without getting hit.
Nah,
What?
I guess.
Because
the possum are always roadkill. Because they always lay down and play dead when they see a car.
Exactly. All right, that's the best ones I've got. The rest are just not very good.
Fun.
Hey, those were jolly.
They probably would kill at the Wood Booger Festival. That happens, I think, in August or something like that. We talked about that in a previous episode. Wood Booger.
I'm having a little bit of a
what's happening?
issue.
Heartburn?
So I've been sick for a while and finally went to the doctor on Monday because my throat had been sore for like 10 straight days. And I went and I'm like, I think I got strep throat again, doc. Help me. Just friggin' help me. I'm tired of my throat hurting. And they did the swab and it wasn't strep, but I definitely had some kind of infection. So they put me on an antibiotic and now my stomach hurts.
Ah,
I am quite uncomfortable, but I'm here
wow.
because I love you, monitorers and murderers, and Abby and JT, and
Okay.
Bummer.
It's just not that you're moon-eyed and elf-curious all at the same time.
I mean, I'm always going to be elf curious now, but the moon-eyed people are interesting.
I would like to announce that a book that I put on hold because it was busy at the library is finally available. Edison's Ghosts, you guys.
Ooh.
Edison's Ghosts. So I told you I read the book all about invisible light to learn about how light rays work and radio waves and how the hell, what's the idea behind a spirit box.
Oh.
And so I learned about invisible light and I was like, okay, makes sense. And then also along the way, I learned about how both Tesla and Edison were creating their own technology. Tesla was specifically trying to create technology to communicate with aliens, and Edison was trying to create his own spirit box. And ultimately, it was the culmination of both of their technology that is now some of the ghost hunting equipment that we have, i.e., spirit box.
Okay.
And so there's this book called Edison's Ghost, The Untold Weirdness of History's Greatest Geniuses. So, you guys, I will maybe come back and have some things to say.
Nice.
But anywho, I just thought that would be fun for listeners to hear about some of the reading that I'm doing to help get me like a little farther into my ghosty belief knowledge to help me marry the science and the paranormal. And if anybody wants to go on that journey with me, let's do this. In the meantime, let's get back to Appalachia.
All right. I wondered if I could start with the superstitions because those are fun.
That does sound fair. What do you think, JT?
Right.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So here's one that we all will know. So there is a weather superstition that's apparently from Appalachia. If the groundhog sees his shadow, that means 6 weeks of bad weather, winter, and no shadow means fair weather, i.e. spring is coming early. That apparently started in the Appalachians, but we all know that one. That's a common American thing, Groundhog's Day, right? Like there's a whole freaking holiday about it. Well, there's a whole bunch of other weather superstitions, and apparently this was something that the people who lived in those mountains really used to kind of help them understand what the winter and what weather was going to do. So persimmon trees have this kind of seed, and when you cut it open, it's like this white inner fruit part, and then there's this one little piece that comes out through the middle that can be shaped like different things. And there actually was an example shown, and in the example it looked like a little spoon, but apparently you can cut them open and it could look like either a knife, a spoon, or a fork, I mean, like with little tines and stuff. So if you cut open the persimmon seed and it looks like a spoon, that means it's going to be really heavy snow weather. If you cut it open and it's straight like a knife, that means mild weather. If you cut it open and it's got the tines like a fork, that means it's going to be variable. And it may be a little bit snowy one week and then really mild the next week, and back and forth and back and forth.
Huh.
That makes so much more sense than the groundhog.
Yeah, because the tree's actually telling you. Yeah.
Well, and seeds respond to the frost. I was actually just reading about why it's better to spread seeds late fall than it is to do it early spring, because that winter process, the frost and the snow, seeds have actually evolved to respond to that seasonal, those cues, the temperature cues. And once that like final frost happens and ends, then they start to sprout. And it makes a lot of sense that these seeds have a very specific tell regarding where we are in the weather.
I know. I like it. So here's another one that I also really like that I think makes meteorologic kind of sense. When you have smoke coming out of the chimney and the smoke is close to the ground, that means that snow is coming. which I find really interesting. Instead of going up and floating high into the sky, the smoke kind of stays close to the ground. That means that there is a weather storm coming. Well, that kind of makes sense because you've got all that extra barometric pressure. I don't know, like, to me, that's a really smart observation. Like, these were people who really paying close attention to what was going on.
Yeah.
And they knew that if that's chimney smoke is staying low, that's what's going to happen. This is an interesting one. The number of heavy fogs in August is the number of snows that they're going to have that winter. And that's something to keep in mind about these mountain ranges, is that I distinctly remember we went as kids. We went, and we only ever went in the summertime. And so like June, July, August, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly what month we tended to go. But even when we were there in the middle of the summer, it was rainy and wet, and the mountains were very blue. And I remember lots and lots of fog kind of curling around the different mountains and stuff. So it's like a really wet place, or at least that was my impression being a kid from Arizona, coming to like the forest of the Appalachians and seeing the blue mountains. They can have lots of heavy fogs in like various times throughout the year. So that was one thing that they would do, is they would count the number in August to kind of get a feel for what the winter would be like. A couple more. Actually, I'm going to skip the rest of the weather ones because the more interesting ones are coming. Keep a horseshoe in the bedroom to keep nightmares away. And I think that one's really interesting. I know the horseshoe, I know keeping it above the door, but my understanding of that superstition was you keep it above the entryway door, and that can keep bad spirits out. But I'd never heard about keeping them in the bedroom.
And I thought I recently learned that it had something to do with like the iron or whatever metal horseshoes are made of.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Interesting.
Which could still be true of this superstition, but So the horseshoe keeps nightmares away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is interesting. Actually, if you think about what a nightmare is, it is considered a literal
horse mare. Oh my
sits
God.
on your chest to give you terrible dreams. Maybe shodding that horse keeps it from sitting on you, giving you the nightmares.
Good correlation, Mandy.
Yeah, I didn't think about that before. Okay, here's another one. Never bring a hoe into a house. That's bad luck. And we mean the tool. Not a lady of the night.
I don't know, man. I think it still maybe applies. Keep them hoes outside.
Keep them hoes out the house. Never rock an empty rocking chair. That's considered very bad luck.
Oh, I want to know more about that.
Yeah, I know. I wish I knew more about that. Never put a hat on a bed. Also bad luck.
Oops.
You have to.
What kind of hat?
Yeah, I want to.
Any hat?
It's just any hat. I don't know. This is a really interesting. I've actually watched quite a few videos about this. So there's this thing called haint blue. And that's like Southern for like haunt kind of became haint. So haint blue is this special shade of blue, which is like a light pastel grayish blue color. And you're supposed to paint some part or some portion of your porch this haint blue color. And I had heard that in some homes in the South, they have like a balcony overhead or whatever, like an awning or whatever. You paint the underside of the awning blue, or you paint like the bottom part of like the porch blue or whatever, the patio or whatever that is. That blue color protects your home from the haints getting into the home. So those nefarious bad spirits can't get into your house if you've got that haint blue protecting you. That's one that I've heard before. And what I think is really interesting about that is I wonder about, because the house where I work, the nurse's station is painted haint blue.
Oh.
And I noticed that a few months after I worked there, like, hey, wait, these walls are, hey, that's interesting. And it made me wonder a little bit if that was just by chance or if somebody kind of knew the superstition was trying to protect the nurse's station where I work.
What else do you got?
Never put a pocketbook on the floor, otherwise your money will go right out the door. That's a little rhyme that they had. Here's some. Breaking a mirror means 7 years bad luck. And I feel like that's when I knew. JT?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the pocketbook one was very similar to, for women, don't put your purse on the floor or you'll always be poor.
Oh, I never heard that before. I had never heard either of those before. So I think that's interesting.
There's actually people that make apparatuses to put on the table to hang your purse.
Yes. Well, I don't like to put my purse on the floor because then it'll be filthy and covered in bacteria.
Well, that too,
So.
but
Okay, so we have the never break a mirror. That's one I feel like everybody's got.
Mhm.
It's got to be a thing. I'm curious to know, listeners from around the world, do you also have that superstition? Never walk under a standing ladder.
yeah,
That
I've
is
heard
one
that.
I grew up with. Here's another one. If you find a penny and the head is up, that's good luck. If you find a penny and the head is down, that's bad luck.
Well, I learned that from Betsy.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the specific story that her dad told her
right.
was if the penny is face up, somebody in heaven is thinking of you. And otherwise, don't touch it. If it's face down, leave it.
All I've heard is find a penny, pick it up all day long, you'll have good luck.
You'll have
Yes,
good luck.
the more generic one.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I've been picking up all the damn pennies.
Bad luck comes in threes. So if you have one thing that's bad luck that happens, you're going to have two more things bad luck happen.
I've
Isn't
heard that.
Yeah, I've heard. Oh,
I've heard that
bad
deaths
luck
come
comes
in-
in threes.
Yeah,
Okay.
celebrity deaths also come in three,
Mhm,
apparently.
they do.
Huh.
They do.
So that's one. Okay, here's one that I knew. And I know this as a Jewish tradition. And I've seen this, I think, a couple other witch-related traditions. In the home where a death has occurred, you are supposed to cover the mirrors. If you don't do that, the spirits can actually end up getting trapped in the mirrors. I happen to know that's a Jewish tradition because we had a Jewish family have a loved one die, and they're like, we need to cover the mirror. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, do what you got to do, man. That's totally fine.
Cool.
But I've heard that before, that mirrors can be places where spirits can end up getting trapped.
I have not heard that before.
I've heard there's a lot of people who are like scared of mirrors. And I had done preliminary research and learned that it seemed like a lot of Christians, maybe Catholics, specifically maybe like Latin, like Orthodox Latin Catholics, definitely believe in the scary mirror stuff. But that's me making assumptions based on some social media reactions that I've seen. But still, the Catholic house that we lived in where it was a family member's house and her grandfather had died in that house. They had mirrors everywhere, multiples in every room. And I'd never lived in a house like that. And I grew to just get used to it.
Yeah.
So not only did we take some of the mirrors with us, but now I'm like, mirrors in every house. Like, let's just do it. It's so bright and whatever. Like, you gotta position them cleverly. But I wonder.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they didn't believe that their loved one who died in the house could be trapped in those mirrors. But they also believe in all the protections.
Mhm.
Spirit water smudging and the like blessing things. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they believe he moved on.
Yeah, probably. All right, here's some animal superstitions. What's interesting is there's more than one of these where I had heard it partially. And I think that some of these are going to sound real familiar, but it seems like we don't know the entire superstition, guys. So here's one. Don't kill a cricket in the house. Abby, does that sound familiar?
No. What?
Mom used to say that all the time. Don't kill a cricket in the house. It's bad luck, she used to say.
Huh.
So that's actually only half of the superstition. Don't kill a cricket in the house, otherwise your cow will go dry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, that would be pretty bad luck. So maybe
Like,
just in
that's
general.
bad prosperity, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, no
I guess I've dried out a
nourishment
lot
for
of
you.
cows. I killed a lot of crickets inside.
So
my house.
you never heard that phrase then, huh, JT?
No,
And Abby, you
never.
don't remember it either. No.
I don't remember it, certainly.
I very distinctly remember like wanting to catch a cricket and get rid of it because it was driving me crazy. And Mommy, don't kill it in the house. That's really bad luck. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll take it outside then, I guess. And now I just don't like killing anything unless I think it's dangerous. So, all right. Here's another one. If a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck, right?
I've heard
That's
that.
only part of the superstition.
Oh, wow.
Ready for this? If a black cat crosses your path to the left, then it's bad luck. If that black cat crosses your path to the right, then it's good luck.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah. I think someone only
Well.
heard half of that and was like, bah, black cats, makes sense, checks out.
Yeah.
Got it.
Bad luck.
Never let a
So-
black cat cross my path.
Which way is left or right? Is it based on, like, if you're going down the road and it crosses your path, is that to your left Or the cat slap.
If it crosses your path to the left, I'm guessing if it's crossing your path headed left is kind of how I'm interpreting this.
Yeah.
That's the bad luck side. If it crosses your path to the right, then it's good luck. See, everybody, don't hate black cats just 'cause. Discernment. What direction did they go? Then you can decide. Here's another one I actually had never heard before. If a cat with white paws crosses your path, you will receive money. Yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
That's what it says.
With white paws.
Oh.
White
The
paws.
rest of the color doesn't matter.
Nope, just the paws. Yeah, everybody, get yourself a white pawed cat. And then this one, I feel like makes a lot of sense. And this is, again, I feel like the power of observing nature around you. Animals with a heavier coat means it's going to be a bad winter. I mean, that I feel like that checks out.
Okay.
Somehow they know. Here's some people superstitions. If you bite your tongue while eating, you've recently lied. I must be a big old liar because I bite my tongue a lot when I'm eating.
Oh.
I don't bite my tongue very much. So.
Don't you? Do you never lie?
I guess I don't.
I don't think I lie. I mean, okay, occasional little white lies, but I feel like I'm mostly pretty honest.
I don't really lie, but also I don't bite my tongue. I end up biting the inside of my lip a ton.
Yeah.
And it's the worst.
I have a crossbite, so I end up biting the side of my tongue, and I have thick scars on the inside of my cheek from biting them all the time. I don't even notice anymore.
Really sucks when you bite your tongue.
Like my tongue is bitten right now, actually. Anyway, all right. It is bad luck to whistle indoors. No reaction?
I call bullshit.
What do you mean?
I think, well, I mean, obviously I don't think most of these are bad luck, but that one especially is like, what? That they just didn't want to annoy each other. Somebody was like, I find you so annoying. Hey, you know what? It's bad luck. So don't do that.
But isn't just whistling at night a major taboo? Because it's believed to summon evil spirits?
Yes. So I think that's really interesting that specifically they say, it's bad luck to whistle indoors. I've actually heard that. I've had different indigenous people, like the indigenous friends, yell at me if I've been like whistling indoors. But then the other thing is I know for a fact you do not whistle outside at night either, like at night, because that's supposed to bring evil spirits right to you. Like you're just calling out like, hey, I'm right here, like a beacon in the night. And then they mealtime, man. So you're not supposed to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. If your ears are burning, someone's talking about you. I've heard that one before.
Yep.
What does that mean? Like your cartilage like heats up? What ears?
Yeah, sometimes your ears just get hot.
They just feel really hot sometimes.
Sometimes.
Does that not happen to you?
No, but it reminds me of Moss in IT Crowd. He has the little spray because he has hot ear.
I love that show. He's cute. He's cute.
Oh, God.
I like Moss. That's a show from England, the UK, everyone. Okay, so here's one. Knock on wood to keep bad things from happening. Or keep things from happening.
Yep.
Never wear new shoes on Easter. Don't know why.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think I vaguely heard that before, but it's vague.
I don't know what the deal is with that. Oh, here's one. Eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day brings good luck all year. Abby, do you remember that one?
Was that a New Year's tradition in your house growing up? Eating black-eyed peas?
I bet it came up because I hated beans.
She did it for sure at least once that I remember. We were forced to eat black-eyed peas on New Year's because it's good luck. You have to eat them. And they were gross, first of all. I did not like them. And I'm not surprised, Abby, that you hated them either. Like,
I have a texture aversion to all beans and bean-like things.
But I've heard that before, and I thought that was really interesting. We do have family in the South, and that was definitely something that was in the home. Like, I remember this one. Okay, so then here's some dream and death superstitions. Pretty much anything happens, you're gonna die, right? So you guys ready for this? To dream of muddy water is a sign of death. If a picture falls in a house, someone's gonna die. If a clock gongs,
all of these are in the dream.
No, not necessarily. It's like a mixture of like if it happens in your dream or if it happens in real life. Like these are like death superstitions, right?
All right, gotcha.
If a picture falls in the house, someone's gonna die. If a clock gongs for no reason, it's a sign someone's gonna die. If you dream of a birth, there's gonna be a death. If you dream of a death, there's gonna be a birth. When you have a ringing in your ears that lasts for several days, someone's going to die. If a baby talks before it learns to walk, that baby's going to die.
What?
Never cut a baby's hair before it's a year old or else it will die. Every frog you kill makes your life 1 year shorter. If you sweep under a bed with someone who is still in it, they will get sick. And I guess presumably they might die. If you sweep a floor on New Year's Day, you're sweeping your family away.
Oh, the Chinese New
Wow.
Year is something similar.
Yeah, you have to do it before, right? And then you got to
wanna
put
do
all
it
the brooms
before-
away.
You definitely, for the first day, on the New Year's Day, the new lunar day, you do not want to sweep or clean anything because you're cleaning away your good luck, I think. Or
Mm.
something like that. It could even be the family away or, but whatever. But it is part of the superstition that you do all your cleaning either beforehand or afterward but that first day is off limits.
Yeah. So that's the ones I have. Special thank you. That was from YouTube, Donnie Laws. And he put a lot of those out. And I thought some of those were interesting and I wanted to talk about them because some of them, again, just felt so familiar. I'm like, wait, is that really an Appalachian superstition? Because I remember that one. I remember that from growing up, or I just feel like some of these are just really in the overall American culture now. And I wonder if some of these are actually more worldwide than we realize too. So I am curious. Listeners, email or whatever, comment somewhere on social media. Eventually we'll see it. Anyway, so I just wanted to get that kind of out of the way because I enjoyed learning about these different superstitions.
Excellent. The stuff that I kind of researched were just kind of more of like the mythical creatures.
Ooh, fun.
Do it.
Like the Spearfinger.
Oh, I heard about that one. Tell us.
That sounds so scary already.
Spearfinger. Okay, so this is a Cherokee Nation tradition or one of their oral legends. And it was passed down through the generations. It's the tale of Spearfinger, a monster and witch that roams the southern Appalachia. Spearfinger, or Utlunta, is said to live in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. The word Utlunta is Cherokee for the one with the pointed spear, and according to legend, Spearfinger has a long, sharp finger on her right hand that resembles a spear, which gives her the name. She uses that sharp finger to carve out the livers of her victims and then eats the livers.
Ew.
With
Bloody
some fava beans and a bottle of Chianti.
And raw. Oh, man.
Solid work, Abby.
Nice.
Okay.
Love that guy.
Where was I?
Sorry, JT.
Oh.
The liver raw, I
We need
think.
to silence some lambs now, or what?
Yes, you do.
Oh my gosh.
Clarice.
Okay. I think that he cooked his livers, but the Spearfinger eats them bloody and raw.
Ew.
A Cherokee storyteller, Kathy Littlejohn, describes Spearfinger as being covered in a rock-like skin, something that no spears or arrows could penetrate. Her only weak point was on the very tip of her spear finger, where her heart was.
Wow. Interesting.
So, Spearfinger was somebody you did not want to mess with because there was no way you could really take it out unless you could somehow
Had perfect aim.
get to the tip of this spear. I don't like how big was this spear? So
I don't know.
This is why these chicks are walking around with these pointy, long fingernails right now. It just has like, don't fuck with me, I will eat your liver written all over it. I mean, I'm here for it, like your sometimes your makeup and your nails and your hair are very much like the female equivalent of a power stance, like you kind of command a presence in the room. But anyway,
the creepiest thing about this story is
yeah. Oh, that wasn't the creepiest thing, huh?
No, this is the creepiest thing. Spearfinger is also a shapeshifter
Oh.
and could take the shape of someone you trust or who looks completely harmless, then lure you in and slice. You're out of a liver.
That is terrifying.
Spearfinger. So Mimic meets Freddy Krueger is what we have here.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Where's Cameron to make a salad fingers reference, man? Would you like some rusty spoon?
So, Spearfinger.
Dude, that's super
God.
creepy.
That's really scary.
Wow. And so
Definitely
she
scary.
only lives in like the Appalachians somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Where's she at?
Southern Appalachians. She's in
You said already Eastern Tennessee, right? And
Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee.
ugh,
So,
no, thank you.
did you come across the Flatwoods Monster?
No, actually, no, I did not.
There is a tiny town of Flatwoods located in central West Virginia. And so one day back in the late summer of 1952, a few Flatwoods residents had an encounter with a creature that can only be described as extraterrestrial.
What?
Near dusk on September 12th, 3 young friends, Ed May, Freddie May, and Tommy Heyer, were out playing on the lawn of Flatwoods Elementary School. Suddenly, a bright red light streaked across the sky and crashed into a nearby farm. The 3 boys ran to go see the strange things, and on the way, they stopped to tell Kathleen May, the May boys' mother, along the way. So she went with them. So now there's 4 of them, and their family dog, Richie. She also called the National Guard member, Gene Lemon, to join them at the crash site. When they appeared, they saw bright, glowing eyes in a tree. And the creature was huge, standing at a reported 10 feet tall, had a spade-shaped head and what looked like a metal dress. It appeared to levitate, and as the witnesses watched, the creature hissed and began approaching the terrified onlookers, who immediately turned and ran.
Whoa.
Some of the members of the group suffered from throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea, which persisted for days.
Radiation poisoning.
These symptoms were passed off as side effects of hysteria.
Oh.
Classic.
But it's worth noting that these are also telltale signs of exposure to mustard gas.
Oh.
Whoa.
Huh.
So if you believe that this monster was hissing mustard gas at them, which made them sick, that's the Flatwoods Monster.
I had heard of the Flatwood Monsters, but just basically the description. I didn't realize that that was purportedly a survivor from an alien spaceship crashing. That's fascinating. You said 1952? Is that what you said? Wow.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago. Dude, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's very scary. The woods out there, the mountains are scary enough all by themselves. But then to see some crap like that, man, I would never go outside again. I'm done. Nope, I'm done.
I'm not going to live there. I mean, I've seen many short on YouTube that people who like move to the area and they're like, man, we heard some weird shit. They just hear weird stuff. And you sent a video earlier today about the call of the bobcat or the mountain lion. And there's this debate whether or not mountain lions exist in the Appalachian Mountains. Because there's people that say they've seen them. And then there's people that say it's just bobcats or it's not.
Well, the Appalachian expression goes, at night, if you're all by yourself and you hear a woman screaming in the woods, no, you didn't. Turn around, you didn't hear nothing. So, and the for a lot of people, the explanation is it's a spirit trying to get you. It's some kind of, Wendigo or other shape-shifting spirit trying to trick you by making you feel like you got to rescue some woman. But then if you listen, so like in this particular video, he was saying it's not supernatural at all. It's probably mountain lions. The cries of a mountain lion in mating season sound an awful lot like a screaming woman.
And this is Abby from Post. I know that you're all wondering what exactly does that sound like. So here it is. Yeah, that would be pretty freaking chilling to hear in the middle of the woods at night. Ugh.
And the Department of Natural Resources says there ain't no such thing as mountain lions in that part of the world. But hunters and other like livestock farmers and other folks who hang out in the woods in those areas are like, the hell there aren't. I've seen them. They've gotten pictures of these things. So I think I'd rather believe the hunters and the farmers over some government official who's decided it's just not possible.
There's also stories of a wampus cat.
Oh, yeah, the wampus cat.
A terrifying half-human, half-cougar creature often described as a witch cursed to roam the woods. I didn't get much more than that on the wampus cat.
That's an interesting one. I wonder if that was like some amalgam of, like mountain lion and people hearing the women scream and, well, it must be a shapeshifter kind of thing, like a story told to kind of explain something that wasn't understood. I don't know.
And we've talked about the Brown Mountain Lights before, haven't we? Hasn't Cameron brought those up? Or
maybe. I feel like it did come up when we were talking about the Bigfoots?
Maybe.
Brown Mountain Lights? I don't remember. Swamp gas. We talked. I feel like we talked a little bit about swamp gas.
Well, we talked about the lights too, like in some of the triangles episodes of the area too, because those triangles are also in the Appalachian Mountains, sort of. I did find a triangle, Appalachian triangle for Tennessee, and guess what? It's heavily notated in.
What?
It's to get people to come and see the state. Come check out our triangle.
Oh, good.
It's for tourism, strictly for tourism. But the Brown Mountain Lights, there was a German engineer, John William Gerard de Brom, who wrote of lights over the North Carolina hills in his journal in 1771. And there's been many accounts about these lights passed down. In 1922, the United States Ecological Society investigated the Brown Mountain phenomenon and determined the lights were simply car headlights or lights of passing trains.
Right.
However, this was disproven after a massive flood wiped out all the roads and tracks on the mountains, and the lights still appeared. The Cherokee legend is that there was a big war between Catawba and Cherokee warriors on Brown Mountain. After the battle was over, mothers, widows, sisters were sent out carrying torches to search for their loved ones. And the glowing lights are the spirits of the Cherokee women who are still searching for their loved ones.
Oh, that's sad.
So
that's messed up. Poor ladies. Shouldn't have to do that.
And of course, I think you're going to talk about the Moon-Eyed people.
I mean, I don't have to. I don't know much about them. Tell us what the Moon-Eyed people are, JT.
Yeah, what do you know about them?
What do I know about the Moon-Eyed people? Well, they are a very interesting one. It's another Cherokee legend of Moon-Eyed people. There's a lot of people that think it's a myth, but then there's also been a connection to other stories from across the pond or across the ocean. The Moon-Eyed people were small, pale-skinned, blue-eyed humans who lived in the mountains of northern Georgia and western North Carolina. They were especially sensitive to light, so they hid during the day and emerged in the moonlight during the night. So there was an American botanist, naturalist, and physician who references the Moon-Eyed people in a book published in 1797. He said, the Cherokee tell us that when they first arrived in the country which they inhabited, they found it possessed by certain moon-eyed people who could not see in the daytime. So the Cherokee say they were already there before they came and took and lived on the land.
Settled, yeah.
But the Cherokee expelled the Moon-Eyed people from the land, and they said they did that by battling them on a particularly bright full moon, and was able to basically take them all out. The other thing about that is there's a tale of Welshmen who traveled to the Americas in the 1100s. According to this legend, Welsh Prince Madoc Owain, I can't speak Welsh, and his brother fled from Wales during a civil war to the Americas. And Madoc wished to establish a settlement here and even went back to Wales for more people. Some people believe that these Welsh princes and the people they brought to them are the ancestors of the Moon-Eyed people. And there's even Fort Mountain State Park ruins in North Georgia that some people say are fortifications built by these Welsh or Moon-Eyed people. What else have you heard about the Moon-Eyed people?
Well, they're little people. They're like a kind of little people. They're said to have lived in a kind of alternate dimension. And when you cross certain rivers, you'd suddenly be in their realm and could maybe not ever get home. I had heard specifically that they are not ancient white people, like some Appalachian lore would suggest. They are really just very short, pale humans because they lived in caves. They needed to be able to see, and they hunted at night. They were adapted to be in the darkest places and be able to see, which is why they didn't tolerate the sunlight, which is why you could only see them in the moon, because you wouldn't see them otherwise, because they were perfect and silent, like hunters, actually. And that was kind of it. But they were not friendly and they were very dangerous. So the Cherokee drove them out, is what I had heard.
I feel like maybe you're collapsing a little bit there with the Cherokee folklore of the Yuwi Tsundi.
I read about those too.
That are so though you're saying those are two different Moon-Eyed or different.
Well, there's three different little peoples.
Okay.
So there was the Yuwi Tsunzi and the Nunehi. So the Nunehi were kind and protective. The Yuwi Tsunzi sometimes were very tricky, not protective, like wood spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also had the Moon-Eyed people. And the Moon-Eyed people had these huge, my understanding is they were blue and they were pale-skinned creatures. That they were like a specific tribe. So I did hear about all three of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that much about it. And I haven't heard the legend directly from any Cherokee, or I think even like the Shoshone or the Shawnee, not Shoshone. Sorry. The Shawnee have some stories about this too.
It's mostly Cherokee that talk about the Moon-Eyed people, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And it was all just from different Cherokee chiefs telling the stories. And it was, there was one specific chief, Akanastota. He also recounted a story of the Moon-Eyed people to Tennessee Governor John Sevier in 1782. And he said that white men had long ago crossed the Great Water, which is the Atlantic, and landed first near the mouth of the Alabama River near Mobile.
Wow.
The Cherokee expelled these wretches, as they call them. So apparently that's what happened to the Moon-Eyed people, is the Cherokee took them out.
So I'm on Reddit right now. This is where I got the reference to the Shawnee. This is regarding the Moon-Eyed people. The Shawnee connection is that they also have stories apparently about Moon-Eyed people, okay. And that in their stories, they joined forces with the Cherokee and they helped each other. Like there was a truce and they helped each other to kill the Moon-Eyed people.
I see. Okay.
I don't know. That's Reddit, so who knows?
Did you talk about the goblins already?
No.
What
are you going to do it?
I don't have any goblins.
Oh, okay.
Do it, Abby.
Well, kind of along the same vein as the Moon-Eyed people, there are the Kelly-Hopkinsville Encounter. So there's the Hopkinsville Goblins case or the Kelly Green Men case. This is from Wikipedia. This is a claimed close encounter with extraterrestrial beings that occurred near the communities of Kelly and Hopkinsville. Okay, so one encounter that has these two different names. There's the Hopkinsville Goblins case or the Kelly Green Men case. You've got a family of 5 adults and 7 kids. Let me see here. a large, like, extended family from a farm, okay, arrive out of breath at the neighboring town sheriff's office. Like, that's how, you know, they're out in the boonies here, fighting off these little aliens, small alien creatures from a spaceship had been attacking their farmhouse, and they'd been fighting them off with gunfire for, quote, nearly 4 hours.
Yeah.
2 of the adults, Elmer Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, claimed they'd been shooting at a few short, dark figures who repeatedly popped up at the doorway or peered into windows. Then you have their first accounts. This is in Kentucky. The first paper to report the incident increased the number of creatures to 12 to 15. Well, where's the number of creatures from the original count? That's not even being quoted to me. Just a few is kind of the number. A few is all it gives. And then the newspaper reports 12 to 15. And this continues to be the number most often reported. So it's hard to say whether it did or didn't happen. Project Blue Book called it a hoax. And as we know, there are, Project Blue Book didn't call everything a hoax. But this particular one they called a hoax, I guess because it lacked any sort of physical evidence. Project Blue Book was always after, like, are there pieces of spaceship? Is there a body? Like, show me something. And if you couldn't, then they were like, bye, it's a hoax, probably. So I don't know. There's, how do you prove it if they, like, took their shit and left? But also, why?
Or if they're actually trans-dimensional beings and they fade back into the ether from which they came.
Yeah. And then never come back again. And, like, why were they there in the first place, harassing this one family for funsies? Like, I don't know. Are these, like, alien prankster children with nothing better to do? It makes you wonder what's going on their side of things, if they are real. Yeah. Like, what's the deal?
The black-eyed children got bored.
Or did this family just all get into the moonshine and start playing Truth or Dare? Like, I don't know,
That's another Appalachian tradition. Abby, what's moonshine?
Is it?
I think
is it moonshine? It's
a deep south.
It was
moonshiners had to go into the mountains. So I don't know.
Well, during Prohibition, people, because they couldn't get alcohol any other way, they started making their own in their bathtubs, and it was usually such a why did they call it moonshine? Wasn't there some clever reason for it?
Because they would make it by the light of the moon out in the middle of the forest somewhere.
Nice.
There is still a long-standing tradition of moonshiners. There are places that it's still illegal to brew it, and people still try to get away with that in the Appalachian
because the proof is so high.
Yes, because it would fuck you up.
If it doesn't make you blind, it's not good moonshine.
Right?
It also feeds into the stories of the feral people.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
true.
does it now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's tell the stories of the feral people. That sounds like good fodder. Are we talking about, like, hills have eyes kind of stuff?
Kind of. They're supposed to be.
Kind of like isolated people.
Yeah.
In the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay.
You mentioned the name of the ones. The Melungeons.
Oh, the Melungeons. Oh, Melungeons. I don't know if they were necessarily feral, but they were like an isolated tribe of like 9 to 13 families who sort of were intermarrying for a long time because they didn't have rights. They were not allowed to be considered the owners of the land that had traditionally been theirs, and they kept getting pushed further and further into the mountains and become more and more isolated. But there are also stories of feral people, like literal. Yeah, the hills have eyes, kind of say, like, like, don't go out into the woods because the mountain people might get you.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that I remember being a little bit afraid of, like, because they need mates or whatever. There's just supposedly these pockets of people living in the most inaccessible parts of the mountain that are so far removed from society that they are truly feral.
Oh my gosh.
They are just one half step above being a wild animal.
Yes. And they live off the land.
And I guess there's occasionally sightings. Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Sometimes they're confused as Bigfoot sightings too.
Yes.
Oh.
I think that's probably real, actually. Not the Bigfoot, but the feral people. I think the feral people is a real thing.
I think so too.
Ugh.
What were you going to say, Abby? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I was going to say, I think that my husband is legitimately afraid that those people are just, living in rural areas. Like, they could have a really nice little porch that's perfectly swept and like cute little like swing and like they're going to come out and shoot us if we try to take a U-turn using their driveway. I'm like, bro, you need to turn around. Well, there's nowhere to turn around. Just turn into one of these driveways and 3-point turn out of here. No, that's how you get shot. And I'm just like, where do you think we are? Like, who do you think is living in Washington State, man?
You're in the Rocky Mountains, not the Appalachian.
Right. Well, barely.
Actually, there was an X-Files episode about that. Remember, there were some wild people that were like hunting them down, and then they ended up killing one, like the man, and then there ended up being a lady, and then the episode ends with them panning out, and there's a tiny little girl hiding under like a big old tree stump somewhere.
The X-Files was so good at dramatizing all of the paranormal fun stories and lore. Man, they were so good. They were well researched,
Yeah. Anyway, so that's as much as I know about the feral people. I believe it. I believe that there's real people out there in the mountains. Don't. That's almost scarier than any other legend that has been told so far. Real ass people living in the mountains without any law.
Yeah.
Who, good God, who knows what they're taking people for up there. I believe it. No, thank you. Anybody want to hear about the Bell Witch?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the Bell Witch.
All right. Okay. Oh my gosh. You guys. So apparently this thing happened and was like witnessed by the whole ass community. And there's like accounts, like well documented. The community witnessed several things. And like it was a thing. Like it was just a known phenomena that was happening to this poor family. There is this book that was later written, An Authenticated History of the Famous Bell Witch by M.V. Ingram. So this gentleman, M.V. Ingram, heard about the story. And by this time, the main person it had happened to, John Bell Sr., had passed away. And he was actually talking to John Bell Sr.'s child. Like, hey, I know John Bell wrote a journal about the happenings there. Would you let me have that journal so that I could then write about it? And then John Bell's son was like, nah, I'm not cool with that. But then that person passed away and their son was like, well, since that whole generation of people has finally died, I think it might be okay to talk about it because it was too painful to talk about while they were alive. But I also want you to get corroborating sources. I don't want it just to be this journal. I want you to talk to other folks. So talk to other folks, lots of other newspaper entries, letters and things. And so he put together this book about the happenings of this Bell Witch. So apparently there is this guy, John Bell Sr., and him and a bunch of other families settle in this area of, well, heck, where the heck was it?
Red River Bottomland in Robertson County, Tennessee.
And I think this happened in 1821, JT. I'm guessing you're Googling this as I'm speaking.
I had kind of some of the story up. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. So sometime during this time, they settled in this area and there was prosperity. Like it was a wise family. He had a lot of respect in the community. His wife, everybody supposedly loved her. He had a few kids, one of whom was a daughter by the name of Betsy. Oh. So all of a sudden, there starts to be like knocks on the door outside their house, and they see animals that, well, they like shot at this thing that they thought was like a wild dog, but then it like changed shape somehow, and they never quite got it.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, it was 1817. He saw the apparition of a strange creature which resembled a dog. He fired at it, but it disappeared. Then at one point, his son, Drew, noticed this unknown bird that was ginormous, extraordinary size, perched on a fence and then flew away. And then later, the daughter, Betsy, thought she saw a girl in a green dress swinging from the limb of an oak tree. There was another person, Dean, who was a slave that belonged to the family, who said that he felt like he was being followed around by a large black dog in the evenings when he visited his wife.
Wow.
So there was a lot of stuff going on kind of around them. And that black dog business kind of reminds me a little bit of Skinwalker Ranch, just a little bit.
Yep.
So then they start having this knocking. They notice things knocking along the doors and the walls of the house. Then they hear sounds of gnawing, like a dog gnawing on bones, or dogs fighting over things, and chains dragging along the floor. And John Bell started to have this weird mouth paralysis, where he said that it felt like there was a piece of wood in his mouth pushing down on his tongue and forcing the cheeks of his mouth kind of out.
Weird.
So he kind of had like this chipmunk cheek kind of thing. And when he'd try to eat, it was like something was forcibly forcing the food out of his mouth. Well, I guess at one point, after like a year or maybe more, they're fed up with all this activity and are like, who are you? What do you want? And the voice actually answered from a corner of a room where there was nobody. I am a spirit. I was once very happy, but I've been disturbed. And once they got it talking, it kind of just like never shut up. And so then it would tell them all kinds of crazy things about how, well, I was an indigenous woman and you guys messed with my burial ground, so you need to fix it. Or like sometimes she'd be like, well, there's this treasure buried on the land, so you got to go find it. So then they'd like go look for it, and then they never did find it. Then sometimes this spirit actually knew scripture and knew passages from the Bible and stuff.
Wow.
And apparently kind of enjoyed religious arguments. Then these other times.
That's like me and the, who are the really literal people? The Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
I will just engage
You like talking
with
to
them.
Jehovah's?
I will engage with them. I finally had to like tell them after like years of going back and forth. I was like, look, I don't want to lead you on. Like, I know you keep coming back here because you think you're going to change me, but like, stop. Like, it's not like...
I'm just fucking with you. Go away.
I was like, you can keep coming back and talking to me as long as you know I'm literally never, ever joining your church because I think it's the devil. And then they stopped coming.
That's hilarious.
Anyway.
So, this
this
spirit
lady
really liked
doing
debating
that.
with people. Yeah, maybe Abby dies in Tennessee and her spirit travels back in time and she starts fucking with people. Abby?
Engaged.
I could see it. So then she would like travel to places, and she said, well, I'm going to go check out this other property of yours. And then she'd mess around with family members in other places. Even one time, some guy was from England and he came and visited, and he was like, I'll check this thing out. I'm sure it's not real or whatever. And the witch was like, oh, really? And she started mimicking his parents. And then in the early morning, the witch woke him to voices of his parents, worried as they had heard his voice as well. He left that morning and then later wrote to the Bell family that, in fact, the entity had visited his family in England. And he's like, I'm so sorry I didn't believe.
Wow.
Because it's real. Yeah, right? So there's lots of little things like this. Like the spirit would be like, bitch, I'm real. And then would go to places far away and would bring back proof that she had been in this other place, and it was literally impossible for human beings to travel that quickly.
Yeah.
And these other people in these other places would be like, yeah, dude, something weird happened here. So the witch really didn't like John Bell Sr. and often would say, I will leave after you've died. I'm going to make sure you die, sir. And then also for some reason, often like really, really messed around with his daughter Betsy and hated Betsy's beau, like her boyfriend or whatever. And so she was constantly messing with John Bell, and then there was the thing with the eating, so he couldn't eat food, and he just got like weaker and weaker, sicker and sicker over time. And then with Miss Betsy, so she was engaged to this man, and any time when they would be courting together, they would be out together, this spirit would slap her. I guess really hard, would just bam,
no
and
fooling
slap
around.
her.
You're not married yet.
Yeah, not that guy.
Probably.
And kept tormenting actually both of them, her and her beau.
Oh, wow.
And finally, Betsy called off the engagement. Like, this isn't life. Like, I can't live like this. And when she did, things got a little bit better. John Bell finally died, and this spirit was heard singing little songs, like little jigs and stuff, at his funeral, and seemed like really excited and happy that he'd finally died. And then finally at one point said, all right, I gotta go. I'm gonna go for 7 years, but I'll be back, okay? And then like this thing like left for like 7 years and then came back again and started messing with Williams Bell, the son of John Bell Sr., and that family was like, we're not engaging, and didn't feed it. And eventually the encounters petered off, and then it just wasn't there anymore, I guess.
Huh.
There was some other stuff, like there was a cave somewhere near the family land that sometimes it was said that they could hear a woman's voice out of. And there was some speculation that maybe someone had died there, or I don't know. There have been a lot of attempts to kind of explain this, but it was well documented. This whole thing, it wasn't just like one person saying, yeah, this thing happened to my family. It was well documented. All of the town folk kind of knew. Every member of the family had some kind of interaction with this thing. And there were lots of accounts. And when this guy finally wrote this book about it, he was pulling from multiple sources. And it said that...
Did he talk about General Andrew Jackson that visited the farm with his men?
I didn't actually read the book, but I heard about that. Well, you want to tell us a little bit about that, Jason?
Well, it's just a quick blurb. He said, after a night of harassment from the witch, Andrew Jackson and his men departed quickly. And later, Jackson supposedly said he would rather fight the British at New Orleans than fight the Bell Witch.
Whoa!
General Andrew Jackson got harassed by the Bell Witch and said, forget this, I'm out.
The thing is, what I find fascinating about this story is I have to take it at face value because so many people experience this, right? Like it's not just one person's account. It's so many different people, people who are kind of like famous, like big deal names. This Englishman, there was another family with like some Dutch parents somewhere. There was quite a bit that went on that involved more than just this one family. And there was lots of firsthand accounts from various people that these things had gone on. Now, there is some discussion that this book was a little bit exaggerated in some places, but in all accounts, this supposedly actually did happen and comes from more than one source. Like that is agreed. This was well agreed by the townsfolk that this was a real thing happening. So that is fascinating. What was this spirit and why did this spirit harass this family? And in some respects, it actually does remind me a little bit of... There is this thing that happens to, and again, Mandy does not think that she's a shaman, right? But I've studied a lot about shamanism and various practices of shamanism, right? There is this thing that is said to happen to shamans who are first being initiated on the path. They become very ill. They become sickly and they come close to death, and they are harassed by lots of different spirits. And it's not considered this wonderful thing. Like a lot of people from the West get made fun of by people from other cultures who have had this passed down to them over generations, because it's not freaking fun, because the spirits are not nice. They are mean and cruel, and they are bedeviling you and torturing you until you accept your destiny and learn how to contend with these spirits and learn how to kind of fight back against them and to find that balance in your life. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous time. So some of this is kind of reminiscent. Like, did something happen? And John Bell was someone who had the potential to be a shaman, and he encountered this spirit. But because there was no one around who could help him through it, he ultimately succumbed to his shaman sickness. I don't know. That's an idea. That's maybe far-fetched, but it's interesting to think about. And the fact that this girl, Betsy, that it kind of carried through generational lines, also was harassed a little bit. And it had a lot of opinions about how she needed to be living her life, is also really interesting, because the spirits are said to be, like in these traditional lineages, handed down over generations. So it's very interesting. And this was, by all accounts, a very powerful spirit, and actually was able to physically manifest in certain ways, and was able to bring messages back and forth in certain ways that only the most powerful spirits are said to be able to do, or that are directed to do by other people who understand this work. So
Wow.
the whole thing is really, really interesting, just through a lot of different lenses. Like even just as like the lens of this apparently happened to a lot of people. A lot of people were witnesses to this. It's just fascinating.
Well, shit. I mean, on that note, I think that was a really, really good episode. And that's a really good place to end that.
And speaking of shit, I got another joke.
Yeah. All right.
A wood booger and a rabbit are taking a shit in the woods. The wood booger turns to the rabbit and said, "Hey, does your shit stick to your fur?" And the rabbit says, "No, not really." So then the wood booger picks up the rabbit and wipes his ass.
I had a feeling it was going there.
Oh,
that was a good one. I liked that
great. What is our next topic? Oh, yeah. Listeners, we had so much fun comparing and contrasting the magic of Christianity with the magic done in witchcraft that we decided to do further research and do an entire episode just about that. And that is going to be our episode 2 weeks from today. So be on the lookout for that one. I don't know what we're going to call it. Probably something like The Magic of Christianity. Thank you, murderers, for tuning in and listening to us all the way to the end. That was very cool. I've never heard so many of those stories, including the superstitions, which were really interesting to learn about. I didn't think that we would actually be able to fill an hour, but we definitely did.
We totally did. Yes, we did.
A lot of weird shit in Appalachia.
Heck yeah, and there's so much more to talk about.
For sure. And that was us coming kind of light with the research, so definitely going to be another part to that on top of the additional Wendigo episode coming in October.
Heck yeah.
So much to look forward to. And thank you. This has been another episode of The Wandering Crow.